what I would like to talk about is something that you've mentioned in the introduction, is the concept of piano illusions and how I came about it, because it centers around what I value most, is the care that I give to piano recitals, the care that I give that the piano recitals will remain relevant, through all kinds of means. But the way that I came about it is from a very far removed place. Then that I found that the connections between the two are quite incredible. So I have a great background in theater, and more precisely in magic. I've always been fascinated by magic. I've seen a first trick performed by my great-grandfather, who wasn't a magician per se, but that what hooked me on when I was 6 years old, and I inherited a book on card magic from his drawer. And I was a great student of magic while I was taking my piano lessons through, elementary, middle, and high school. I would go to festivals all over Europe. I would perform straight, magic acts. One of my first performances that sort of alluded to a future connection between music and magic was creating the sleight of hand card act to the accompaniment of classical music. It was just a recording, a background music, but that sort of got me thinking if there is a way to combine the two. And it was actually at Eastman when, I was pursuing a piano performance degree, but there was this great opportunity to enroll in an honors program, musical arts major, which enabled students to craft your own independent curriculum in your junior and senior year of undergraduate degree, and work with other professors outside of your field. But most importantly, the track should be with something unusual that couldn't be quite fit within the regular frameworks of an academic degree. And so I pitched this in front of the faculty that I want to combine music and magic on one stage. And so with all the repetitious events that led me into it, I was accepted into a program. Then I worked with a theater director from University of Rochester for 2 years on putting the two together. And I premiered the show in 2009, a few weeks after playing my senior recital. And so it's been 14 years since I've been on the road in a way and performing the show. And what's unusual and perhaps things that I wanted to share is that in that process of thinking how I can do the two and how can magic highlight the most incredible things about music that we know, and how can music support the visual aspect of magic, is that I realized that the best way to do it is to create a show that's more than just about piano, more than just about tricks. It's about something that people connect with. So, for example, one of the pieces that I do reflects on the idea of homesickness, thinking of the French word le mal du pays, tęsknota in Polish. And so obviously I talked about Chopin, and I talked about Chopin mazurkas. And in Piano Illusions, I show a letter that I received from my mother in Poland. And I say that, the homesickness, it's so overwhelming, that it's so intense that it can overwhelm this entire room. And so I want to open it, but I don't want to open it just yet. So I hand it to a spectator in the audience. Then I say, I'll do what I usually do when I get homesick. I'll just play more Chopin, but I'll let audience decide what piece I'll play next. So I hand them a book of Chopin's mazurkas, and I riffle through the pages. They say stop, and they pick one mazurka. Now, I don't want to see which mazurka they picked. They close the book, they hold it. I go to the piano, and I say that I have this strange feeling that I'll know that the mazurka you stopped at in the book is the one I was thinking of for this whole time. And I sit down, play through several mazurkas, then I settle on one. And I ask them, is that the mazurka? And it's Opus 30, number 2, for example. They say, yes. Well, which page is it? page 60. Okay, we go and open it. Say, do you remember seeing the mazurka and the page number? And they say, yes. I riffle through the page. Well, something is wrong because page 60 doesn't exist. Someone has torn it out. And I show it that mazurka that they just looked at previously is not there anymore. And so I say, well, I think I know what happened. Everybody wants to be connected to their roots. All of us want to belong somewhere. You know that. I know that. My mother in Poland knows that. Maybe that's why this letter arrived this week. And then we go to the spectator with the letter, they open, and the missing page is found in that. And it's one example where a classical piece of magic, which is usually done with a book, as a book test, as in a magical magician's jargon, and music, which the mazurkas that I love and I connect with, but they describe something bigger than just piano recital. They describe something bigger than just a magic, and they talk about something that everybody can connect, and the audience really responds to that. And I think the challenges that I've encountered with it is, I've done it for quite some time, and I think the landscape of the recital programming has changed over time, and is very much welcomed the show. But the things that I often get is what is the program of the recital, and I don't give programs. That was the sort of the one way that I wanted to have keep the element of surprise and distinguish it from other recitals, which is perfectly fine. And I do play straight recitals with programs, but I like that idea that they don't have it. The audience doesn't know what happens next, and I can take them on that journey in more of a theatrical narrative. And so also, because being in academia takes time, and things to be accepted, and we often, we work really hard to learn new things all the time, but they also take time to be assimilated and sort of be welcomed. And I think that's also something, including music off the beaten path, and doing something so unusual like introducing magic to a piano concert just takes time. But I think perseverance and believing in your work can take you quite far.